So I'll use an example, I guess, of my art. So before I start any type of like new medium, and so for me, I like to move around in different art forms. I work in different mediums because it keeps things fresh. And for me, the study of that art form is really what gets me excited about things. And so the work that I put into my art, it doesn't just start with me picking up a paintbrush and putting it into canvas or picking up a piece of silver and starting to manipulate it with a chasing tool. It's hours and hours of research before you even get into the actual craft. And so I would go to market, and because I felt that I was not of the degree or standard that some of these artists that were known or had names behind them and had a lot of experience, I would sell my work for a lot less. I would sell my work for a lot less, and I would downplay my own worth in the conversations that I have with the customers. And even to the point where I'd point out mistakes of my work and basically talk myself out of sales. And what I learned though is that a lot of people wouldn't buy my work. And I asked somebody that was really interested in my work. They're a friend of mine. And so I felt comfortable enough to ask them. And I said, you passed on my piece here. I said, but I feel that it's executed a little better than the piece that you bought on the way. And I understand that art's subjective and it touches people in different ways. And so something may not catch your eye in my booth is going to catch your eye somewhere else. But I felt comfortable enough asking him. And he said, when I went to your booth, you told me all the things that was wrong with it, all the things that you messed up on. And then you sold it for next to nothing. And he said, and I really didn't want to pay for it. He said, one, because you downplayed what it was. He said, the other reason is you don't have value in it yourself. And to me, I'm like, I do, but just putting the number on it, I was looking at it like even if I sell anything, I'm successful. But what he was saying is that if I don't find value in my own work to put a price on it that reflects the work that went into it, then why should I expect others to? And so it resonated with me and I sat on it for a while. And so the next market we had, I put my prices like very high. And I said, this is what I'm going to sell it for. I do have a job. I work full time as a garden coordinator. I said, I do this on the side, but I'm going to own the work that went into it. I'm going to own the time and what it meant to me to make these things. And I'm going to put a price on it. And if it sells, then great. And if not, I'm not feeding my children with this. And so the sales that I make off of my artwork, I'm able to do things with my kids. I'm able to give them a fuller life, take them on vacation, show them things that my parents showed me, and provide for them in a little bit better way than just by getting by. And if I sell it, great. And if not, I'll find another home for it later. And so it's interesting. And as I used to have collaborative booths with a friend of mine, and it was all to save money. So we would work on something together and we would put it out and we'd only have to pay half the price of the booth. And he said, you determine the cost of this. What do you want to sell it for? And I said, and it was a pot. It was a vessel that takes a lot of skill. And there's not very many people that make them. And we made it together and I had painted it and there was over 40 hours worth of work in this vessel. And it's something that was rare. And so I said, well, I want $1,200 for this. And he got upset with me. And he's more of the bread and butter, selling a bunch of things to make his living. And so he said, you're not going to make more than $60 on it. Pay me half. And then whatever you make on it, you can, but you're probably going to go home with it. And he was really upset. And so I said, all right, cool. And so I put it out. And before the market even started, a gentleman came with me and said, this is very rare. What is this? And I was explaining to him the process. And I kept in mind not to downplay my work. And I told him, this is how it's done. These are how many people still practice this. This is the history of it. And he said, how much are you asking? And so I only wanted 1,200, so I told him 1,500. And he said, I have 1,100 right now, cash. I'll pay it. Then you can leave it at your booth and I'll come back for it later. And my friend's eyes, they just got so big and his jaw dropped to the floor. And to me, it kind of just cemented or solidified everything that guy had told me the time before. And if you find value in yourself, others will see that as well. And that doesn't just correlate to sales. It's value in your words and knowing what you're speaking is truth. And when you're presenting or sharing information to other people or educating them in whether it be the field or in life or in the arts, if you don't believe in yourself, they're not going to.